welcome to the Forest Pavilion at COP29 here in Baku. And today we're going to give you some highlights from FAO's State of the World's Forest Report 2024, Forest Sector Innovations Towards a More Sustainable Future. This publication was launched a few months ago, and we are going to hear a bit about some of the case studies that were highlighted in the publication. And all of us know that forests are under major stress due to climate change, and including we're seeing this in wildfires, pest and disease outbreaks, droughts, floods. And at the same time, the demand for forest products continues to grow. And so this year's SOFO report really showed that because of these things happening, the forests losing their resilience, but at the same time, all of the demands on forests, that we really need innovation in the forest sector to move forward. And when we talk about innovation, a lot of the times we think about digital innovation, technological innovation, but actually the report really shows how we're talking about technological innovations, social innovations, policy innovations, institutional innovations, financial innovations, and how all of these work together in a bundle to bring about positive change. And I'm really happy today in Baku because the SOFO report highlighted 18 case studies from around the world, case studies that are focused on halting deforestation, restoring forest landscapes, sustainable use. And we happen to have people here. One is a lead author of one of the case studies, and the others are very familiar with the case studies on the ground. And so we wanted to have this conversation today to hear a little bit from your perspectives about the importance of innovation in these places where you are working. And so I'm here today I'll start with Ludmila Ratis. Ludmila is a researcher at Woodwell Climate Research Center and the Amazon Environmental Research Institute. Like I said, she was a lead author of one of the case studies in the SOFO report. Here we have Sani Ayuba, the Executive Director of Youth Volunteers for the Environment. And in front of me is Mariano Martinez, who is the Red Cross focal point from the Guatemala Forest Institute. And so we're going to take a bit of time today to talk about your work on the ground. And so, Ludmila, you're doing some pretty cutting-edge science. Why don't you tell us about it in relation to the case study that you presented in SOFO?
Thanks, Annie. Thanks for the invitation, especially to write the case study. That was really, really nice because that took me back to 2012 when the Global Forest Watch was released, and we were trying to calculate deforestation within protected areas and indigenous territories in Brazil. And to do that simple task took me 4 months.
Wow.
To put together all the images, mosaic, and then overlap with the polygons. And today, with this innovation that we have, we can calculate that in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. In 12 years, we advanced so much in technology. So, of course, we still have many challenges in terms of controlling deforestation. Today, we got access to very, very sad numbers about Brazil and how much it burned. So it is middle of November, and we already know how the fire season that is ending now, how much forest it burned. It's 6.7 million hectares of forest burned in Brazil this year. So this kind of innovations help us to track down the problems with deforestation and forest degradation, but also help us to apply and go after policies and talk with policymakers, stakeholders to raise awareness.
Yeah.
So this is really, really important for us.
Yeah, that's great. And the research that you're doing is so interesting because it's really bridging forests and agriculture. And you're absolutely showing the importance of forests for agricultural productivity. And you are able to really quantify some of that and included that in the SOFO report, and also how that's led to new incentive mechanisms for farmers. Could you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So the first thing is those standing forests, they provide some buffering in terms of protecting from heat waves and providing climate regulation. So in absence of these forests, we see some instabilities, and those instabilities, they affect crop productivity. So we observe that areas with less than 20% of forest, they have a very steep drop in yields. And beyond that, the productivity starts to build up. And in El Nino years, this minimum amount of forest jumps to 30%.
Okay.
And because of those kind of things, we can have more buy-in from the private sector, the agricultural sector, to programs like the Conserve. Conserve is a program to compensate farmers for avoided deforestation. In Brazil, we have the Forest Code, which protects a minimum amount of native vegetation within private land. And beyond that, the farmers, they don't have incentives to not deforest. So what we are doing is this proof of concept project, the Conserve. We now have 27,000 hectares of protected forests that we are compensating, financially speaking, the farmers. Meanwhile, we are showing them the results of how good it's for them to keep the forest beyond the mechanism that we created.
That's fantastic, really. The importance of forests, not from an environmental perspective necessarily, but from a productivity, agricultural productivity perspective, which is absolutely essential. Great. I'd like to turn now to Sani. And one of the other case studies in the SOFO report was focused on the Great Green Wall, and specifically FAO's work on the action against desertification, where it's really working with digital innovation, social innovation, policy innovation to restore degraded lands in an extremely tough context, let's say, and not only to build climate resilience, but also to work on food security issues. And Sani, you've been involved in the Great Green Wall in different ways, and so if you could tell us a bit about your work, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, thank you. I'm from Niger, so Niger is part of the Great Green Wall Initiative because it's the initiative which 11 countries, sub-Saharan African countries from Senegal to Djibouti. So as a youth organization, we used to be involved in several activities regarding restoration of degraded land and also tree planting. So we developed several activities on that. And also we have like a kind of stakeholder engagement on these issues that gather youth, women, and all the other civil society actors in order to develop activities at community level, because the main issue of this Great Green Wall is the restoration of the degraded land and also the tree planting, the reforestation in all those areas. So in each countries, we have like the banner, the way that they must plant trees. So for us in Niger, for example, I used to organize the project that involve women in agroforestry. So for us, it's the way to plant trees and also to have community to keep in this tree planting, because the most thing that we have, if we don't have like lot of water, we have this scarcity of water, and also the main activities are based on rainfall. So it's not every year that we have enough water. So for us is to see how the community can keep with some innovative way, because we have like some best practice that we try to share among communities, because in some area that there is a lot of drought, community develop like the regenerative assisted natural regenerative way to plant and to conserve wood, and also the selection of seeds, also the kind of trees that must be planted, and the benefit that the community see is that bring them to have food also, because it's very important to see this aspect also, because with drought there is issue of food insecurity. So with the initiative of the Great Green Wall, community are allowed to select the kind of seed that they want or trees that they want, and also they select the one that have some benefit in terms of medical benefit, and also that they can eat some, like moringa or other trees. So we have this all in several areas in my country, and even in Mauritania and Senegal. Because with the Great Green Wall, I used to participate to the first youth caravan that gather like 13 young people from the 11 countries. So we spent 2 weeks crossing all this land to see how really that's look like if people can push more forward, because it's an initiative that we have more than 10 years now. So it's very important that we receive a lot of engagement and involvement of the community.
Yeah, this food insecurity question is so central, and of the numbers, from the action against desertification, there's these impressive numbers. 100,000 hectares of land under restoration. 100,000 households engaged. But actually the numbers that impacted me the most were, and I think some of these come from Niger as well, but in several of the countries, the experiences of food insecurity decreased over the lifetime of this program. And so really people, who are on the verge of hunger are actually having relief from restoration and able to build sustainable livelihoods. And so those are actually the numbers that impacted me the most. And so, we'll often talk about hectares in terms of restoration, and that's great. And we should also be talking about people and these kinds of because who's doing the restoration on the ground and who needs to benefit from the restoration. Yeah,
because the work that we do is like working with women, because actually we have several crises in Sahel area. We have this security issue also, and so that's why it's very important to see how we can maintain the community to restore their land and to work. So that's among the key activities that we develop with the community, and that allow them based on the agroecology approach. Because it's like community used to use chemical pesticide, all those things, but now with this program, we train them how they can develop their own biofertilizer, biopesticide, all those things based on nature. So it's allowed them to have solution based on nature and also to develop their own thing without any money, because it's very important to see around them, around their environment, what can they use to develop or to maintain their land more useful. So that's why in Niger, for example, in some area, there is a lot of programs that allow community to develop this agroecology approach in order to build more resilience and also to develop the agroforestry. Because, when we talk about forest in Sahel area, is different than other area, because we don't have a lot of trees. It is not easy to find the place, but the community now, they are engaged and work together to develop how we call the integrated community farm. So that's allow a farmer, the one that doing the pastoralist community, the young people to work together, and all of them know very well what can be this place. So we develop also some nursery in order to have the type of plant that they need in their local context that can respond also to their needs. Because sometimes it's not to bring something from outside, but to develop things that they need and coming from their area.
No, that's
That's the activity.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Sani. And now I'd like to turn to Mariano. So we've heard about forest conservation, restoration, and now the sustainable use side. And one of the case studies in the SOFA report was about it's an ITTO submitted case study and timber traceability in Guatemala. And Mariano, you've been involved in this, and how is this timber traceability changing the game in Guatemala in terms of forest policy?
Muchas gracias por la invitación en primer lugar. Guatemala es un país que se caracteriza por tener mucho bosque productivo. Nosotros hemos hecho un estudio a través de la OIMT en donde hemos determinado que debemos de hacer una aplicación que sea fácil para el usuario poder tener acceso a la trazabilidad de la madera. Guatemala tiene aproximadamente más de 1.600 empresas que dependen de la trazabilidad de la madera. Somos también un país que tiene deforestación y por eso veíamos muy importante tener herramientas que pudieran permitir darle seguimiento al monitoreo forestal. Hemos creado una herramienta que permite hacer cálculos del volumen de la madera digamos, utilizando una aplicación de celular que normalmente tenía un gran costo porque necesitaba muchos técnicos, necesitaba gente especializada. Ahora con esta aplicación que hemos desarrollado se ha disminuido el tiempo para la trazabilidad y algo muy importante, nosotros fomentamos la legalidad de la madera. Queremos que sea un proceso legal y para eso todas las herramientas que podamos tener para poder agilizar el proceso de medición, de ubicación de la madera es muy importante.
Great. Yeah, thank you so much. Maybe, just back to each of you for one more question. What one innovation is needed, in your opinion, to make your work really fly? What are you dreaming about, Ludmila, to really, as the next frontier?
The private sector and the oil and fossil fuel companies, especially, to embrace the idea of the clean transition, the energy transition is key. Yeah. Otherwise, all our work is going to be lost because we need the buy-in from those sectors. They need to understand that there is no future without them rethinking their business. Yes. This is the innovation I'm looking for.
Yeah. Okay, yes. This is a good one, but I think you raise a critical point. We can't talk about nature-based solutions, forest-based solutions, if we're not talking about the reductions in emissions from the energy sector, because otherwise, really, the forests have no chance. Yeah. With the kind of warming that we're seeing. So I think this is a super innovation, in fact. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. From my side, I think it's better to see how we can develop tools that can allow community to benefit to the ecosystem benefits. The payment of ecosystem benefit, because we use it in one project called Sahel Youth on Climate Change Action. So that's when the community plant trees, we have a kind of system that give the localization of the trees, and then every year they receive money like a mobile payment that can allow them to continue taking care of this plant. So I think this kind of initiative can work also. But the main thing is the capacity building on agroecology and agroforestry. That can be the tools that can develop more the community ownership and also their participation in the reforestation of Sahel.
Thank you so much. Y Mariano?
Yo creo que el sueño de todos comparto lo que decían mis demás compañeros, es poder tener la vinculación del sector privado dentro de las metas de cambio climático y también tener herramientas que hagan más fácil el trabajo al sector forestal. Y yo solo agregaría que algo muy importante y que todos soñamos es que pueda haber un comercio internacional de madera, de carbono, más equilibrado, más equitativo, más justo para todas las personas, y esto va a permitir que los bosques no se pierdan y que tengan un valor económico. Muchas gracias.
Perfect, thank you. Yeah, really that the benefits are really reaching the ground and really reaching the people who are making the land use decisions every day. So with that, thank you for being here. Thank you to these special guests. A round of applause. And enjoy the rest of COP29.